Merkel Media.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please. Language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail.
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Daylight NBC.
Jack Marius Tack-Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Dave Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from dollars in transactions.
And uncovering the central
Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish swangles in Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you're watching us on band.video, Rockfin, Odyssey, Vigilante.tv, or you're listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks a million. We appreciate the support. The website is theoctopusofglobalcontrol.com. You can check us out there or follow me on Twitter at Macroaggressions, where I argue with people that are more than likely not even real. But it happens. And it happens to the best of us. Thank you to our sponsors. We could not do this show without the support of our sponsors, and we've got a new one for you. They're fantastic. Legal Shield has been in business since 1972. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and I'll tell you what they do. They use the collective buying power of all of us to get legal services for really cheap. You're going to have access to one of the better law firms in your area and the ability to reach out to them directly because you are now officially a client of theirs if you sign up with Legal Shield. It's about $1 a day, $29.95 a month, and that'll get you covered for quite a bit of legal services. I'll tell you what, let me ask this question. When was the last time you updated your will? Probably not for a while. You might not even have one. I'll tell you what, if you don't have one, you got to get one. Okay. We're all adults now. We got to do adult stuff. And that's one of the things that you have to do. If you don't have a will, you need one. If you're married, your spouse needs one. You need a financial power of attorney. You need a medical directive. You need these documents. The last thing you want to do is die. It's bad enough on your family. But if you do this and you don't have any of the legal stuff taken care of, you're just going to add an additional burden to them. But again, nobody wants to go like down to a law firm, contract with them, ask them how much. Well, you could do it. You could go ask a law firm how much it will cost you to do these documents. It'd be about $1,000 each. Okay, so you got to have them. You certainly don't want to pay that money, but that's part of what you're getting covered with Legal Shield. So what you should do if you are interested and you sign up for the program, I'd say within the next week after your membership is active, reach out to the law firm that is in your area and tell them what you want, tell them what you're looking to do, schedule an appointment, go in there, get all these things knocked out like a responsible adult and have them put them in your safe deposit box or in your safe somewhere and just have it taken care of. You don't want to spend $4,000 on that. You're going to have access to this service for $30 a month. My God, take care of all these things. If you have legal documents that legal contracts, anything like that, before you sign them, do what the rich people do. Send it to your attorney. You've probably been, thinking about how this all works. Well, I'll tell you, if the people that have access to attorneys, they don't mess around with paperwork. They let their lawyers deal with it. You could do the same thing. So we've got a website specific to this show. You can go to www.theoctopusofglobalcontrol.com don'tgetpushedaround.com, and that will take you to my landing page for Legal Shield. You can take a look for yourself. You can see what they've got. They've got the legal plan is $29.95 a month. You can add on an additional ID shield. That'll get you credit monitoring, reputation management, password manager, all kinds of things. They have small business plans. They've got quite a bit. They have open carry legal filings and things like that. I mean, this is worth checking out. So I'll tell you what, at the very least, do this. Just go to the website, www.don'tgetpushedaround.com, and just check it out for yourself. See what you think. They tell us that we're supposed to have equal justice under the law, but yeah, we all know that's not true. You need to get yourself represented. The average attorney that you'd be working with has 22 years of experience, so they're not giving you somebody fresh out of law school. You're going to get the best in your area. So take a look. Don'tgetpushedaround.com. Also, thank you to the other new sponsor, or semi-new sponsor, Solar Power Lifestyle. We got problems. We're going to have supply chain issues and all that stuff. You got to have a backup plan. You got to have backup power. I'm not saying you have to put an entire solar panel system on your house, although if you want to, they have it available and financing as well. But get yourself a little portable backup plan, a little generator that you can take with you on road trips. You can stick it in your car. You can maybe need it at the work site or something like that. Whatever you need, they've got it there. They've got the best selling brands like EcoFlow and Jackery. They have free shipping inside the United States. They also have a price match guarantee. So if you buy it from them and then a couple weeks later you find it lower somewhere else, just reach out to them. They'll match the price. It's a small business. It's family owned. They like this show. They reached out to us. They're veteran owned. They've got all the things that you would like. So support the company if you are in the business. If you're in the market for a solar system, go check out solarpowerlifestyle.com. Use the promo code MACRO on your way out. Both of the links for these sponsors will be in the show notes, so you don't have to remember it. And if you're driving around, it'll be there. Well, I have been very vocal about my love of the OBDM podcast. It's I do 3 podcasts, and OBDM is my favorite still. So, and Midnight Mike, of course, is my partner on the Union of the Unwanted. But I am super excited to have 1/3 of the OBDM crew with me, the great Joe Wagner. How are you, Joe? Good to see you. Bake me a fucking cake.
Get right on it. I wonder how many of your listeners will get that, but that was an epic moment. I was really heavy in the sauce when that was going on.
It was beautiful. There's times when I watch the show. I listen to the show if I'm like going to be out of town and I want it like in audio form. I just want it on the plane, so I'll download the audio episodes. But for the most part, I watch the show. I watch it on Twitch, and I just find myself from time to time connecting with your anger and frustration so much. Like when you get all worked up, I just know that there is somebody else out there that you can't see that is as fired up as you are. That's going, go Joe, go yell at these motherfuckers. I'm just as irritated with all the stupidity as you are. So I find myself, and Mike is of course very subdued and rarely gets loud, but I appreciate your anger.
Oh, I appreciate you saying so, because it's one of those things where I have friends who are like, well, why do you pay attention to this so much if it makes you so angry? And I don't have kids. To me, it's just about like the complete table flipping of Western society and civilization generally. And it's happening right in front of our eyes. And for whatever reason, just pointing out truth is, it makes you all these bad words. You're the fascist, you're the Nazi, you're all of the worst names that it can ever be called, to the point where they mean nothing. We all know that they're meaningless. Those of us who are not NPCs or whatever. But yeah, that's my biggest thing, is it's frustrating and it's disappointing. And so I've been angry ever since. I'd be curious to have you rehash your story, but when it was Mike who actually kind of sent me down the conspiracy rabbit hole when he told me to download the birth certificate from Barack Obama in the White House when they had it on the White House website. And while this technology does exist, it wasn't that prominent at the time, where you scan things and it starts to pick up text and divide it out and read it as though it's like live text in Adobe Illustrator or something like that. When you open it in Adobe Illustrator, it was in multiple layers, which means it's not a scan. And you know what I mean? So if there's layers in it, it's like, why would there be layers if you're just running it through a Xerox and sending it over to the computer or whatever? So that, of course, cracked the nut. But I was still one of those people who said, who would get angry if people said 9/11 was an inside job. Oh, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. I was campaigning for Ron Paul, and there were all these 9/11 truthers out there. And I was like, they're just muddying the water. So I really look back on that and I'm like, I was one of those people. I was the NPC.
Yeah, it's easy to remember how we all were. I mean, we all were at some point. Like we all, said, "Oh, that stuff's crazy," or that's dismissive of it. But I guess you come to this information when you come to it. You're ready for it, and then you accept it, or if you're not ready for it and you meet it, the information goes right over your head, or you try to get away from it. But these days, man, I can't seem to get away from. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the writing or whatever, but I watch the news and I don't really watch it too much. I'll see the crazy stuff people will send me. And it's like two shows going on at once. Like I hear what they're saying, but in my mind, I'm like making all sorts of calculations. I'm like, well, that's a lie. And that's a half truth. And it's to the point now where I feel like I'm in like I don't know, like some sort of weird parallel universe where the media is broadcasting one message to one group of people, and I'm getting a whole different message out of it. I feel like I've got the they live glasses on half the time, when you come across the media and you're just like consume, obey, all that stuff. I feel like we're in it, but that takes time, right? So you've been on this journey for a while now, I would say. How, are you,
It's interesting because, to go back to where I had mentioned the origin story of sort of the red pill moment, the anger came when people said the things that were true. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like, it makes me angry. That's why I get angry on the show. And the interesting part being that dichotomy where it's like, yeah, we have all these splinters of like right, left, green, all this stuff. But you also like, it's interesting that I just not thought of this as you're talking, like they've actually been able to achieve the same objective to where they can literally lie to us in front of our face in real time, making people like you and I, like in Jimmy Dore, who's by no means anywhere close to me politically as far as economics and so forth. But we're getting just as upset as the people who are pretending that racism is alive and well and the Jim Crow South is rising and they're fighting for the good of humanity while completely ignoring the fact that they're funding Nazis because they hate Nazis so bad, but they have the Ukraine flag, and all this craziness. And it's like, they care about, I don't know, children and all this stuff. It's like, we are blowing kids apart all over the world and you don't give one fuck. And when Bush was president, I remember the folks out on the corner and I would beep and honk and support them, like anti-war, because I've always been anti-war. Yeah. And I was very supportive. They are gone. And I know it's cliche to say everybody knows this except for them, because they'll say they're anti-war, but then it's like, well, but Putin is a dictator. It's okay. Yeah. They live in a cartoon world. They're watching Saturday morning cartoons, and we're reading the real history and watching it unfold in real time. And it all does connect. And that's the frustrating part. Everything for them is like, here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is. And none of it connects. For us, we're like, oh, that's just like when the FBI put the bomb in the World Trade Center. Right. I mean? It's like people don't even know this. I literally had somebody, a boss of mine, tell me straight to my face that it didn't happen. I brought him the information. He still said it didn't happen. It was on Wikipedia. I showed him the clip of Ted Koppel.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's a weird thing. It's this selective outrage where like where you're mad about Nazis and everybody's a Nazi, as you say. But then you're supporting Ukraine and there's pictures of that Azov battalion that are actual Nazis. And it's like, they will do whatever they can to not acknowledge that because to acknowledge that there's a component of the Ukrainian army that are actual Nazis, not these imaginary ones that they see in every Twitter post and at every protest, it's just filled with Nazis. No, these are actual Nazis with like the tattoos and all that good stuff that you do, when you're on that team. And yet they will do whatever they can to not see that, because it would tarnish their "I stand with Ukraine" component. And it's like, well, we can't have that. But like, I feel like, why don't you want to know this? Don't you want to know? And I think that's what differentiates us from them, is that we want to know. Like, I want to know if I'm wrong too. If I'm right, great. But if I'm wrong, I want to know. Tell me why I'm wrong. Okay, great. I'm willing to accept that. But they don't want to get it right. They just want to be right. And it's a weird mentality.
No, they want to tell you. They want to tell you they're right, because they're not right. Yeah. And they ban you. They shut you down. They deplatform you when they can't win. It's the whole thing where, like, Milo Yiannopoulos, going back as far as then, like Trump, like Rubin Report, he always says he broke their brain. And so it's not about the combating ideas from a rational and interested place, because I've thought about this for so long, especially when I started making videos, when I thought, I don't know, there's some embarrassing ones, but it's like we have the most sophisticated tool for communication and understanding at our fingertips every day. We could learn, we could communicate, we could find out what's happening in Malaysia and how the people are living. We can make friends all over the world. And we're fighting on Facebook, over Trump. They'll literally believe anything. They are not curious at all.
No. And the anti-war component vanished from them. And that has been the most disappointing side, because I do remember that it was the left that was against the wars and had always kind of been against the wars, and rightly so. Okay. They called out Bush, they called out Cheney, and said that this was all, this was imperialism and all that. And they were correct. And got in. Black Chocolate Jesus got in and could do no wrong, right? But he continued the wars, and he kept doing all that stuff. But they were so programmed.
More on top of the two.
Yeah.
Afghanistan, started Iraq. Yeah, put 5 more.
Yeah, started additional wars, drone bombed wedding parties, then hit them a half hour later once the first responders showed up. He had a kill list, talked about it. All of this stuff, like, that is incompatible. Should be incompatible with the left, but because it was their guy, they were never given the authorization to criticize him the way they should have, and because of that, they just signed on to. They wound up signing on to all of his policies, which included bombing continuing bombing and expanding bombing. And next thing you know, they're cheerleading for Lockheed fucking Martin. I mean, this is crazy shit. This should never happen. This is. It's been a complete inversion. Now you've got like neocon Republicans that are like working with the Democrats and trying to help start this war. And you're just like, what?
Yeah, like the Lindsey Grahams. They got to have so much dirt on this guy that he'll say anything. Like, he introduced that federal abortion ban. I think he did that because he wants Republicans to stay out of power. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's all about. It's all about, I say it on the show on Our Big Dumb Mouth all the time, where it's like, they've got Biden over a barrel with the Hunter laptop and everything else and frazzle drip. Like, there's enough out there that we have access to, that if governments around the world don't have access to it, it's like, no, you're going to do whatever we want, and it's a lot of money changing hands. It's a lot of influence changing hands. The idea that we're being led around by leaders who give a shit about us. This is such a global chessboard. You think Soros cares about anybody? He can do whatever he wants in any country. So it's not about Republicans or Democrats. Yes, he funds Democrats mostly, and pretty much all. I mean, I don't know. He maybe funds a few right wingers, but for the most part, he's funding the party that is actively trying to destroy the United States. I mean, it's hard to argue that they're not at this point.
Right. No, it's impossible to argue that they're not. I mean, you'd have to, if you argued with them, you could argue.
Oh, of course.
They would argue with you about that. But anybody with eyeballs can see the mostly peaceful protests and the burning and the looting and everybody's, everybody's trans now. And I've got 18 genders, and I'm Python gender and Python self.
I saw ghost gender. Did you
ghost
see that
gender and ghost self? Yeah. I saw that today too. I was like, oh, this is good. That's a good one. You know, for Halloween, it's probably appropriate. I'm going to be ghost gender for at least part of the day. But this is like, this is a color revolution. This is another Soros color revolution. And that's kind of his specialty, what he's done in Europe and destabilizing these countries. And then you go, well, that would never happen here. And it's like, well, if you were trying to destabilize a country, could you do it any better than the way the Democrats are doing it? Probably not, right?
Yes, I think I saw something, a tweet or something to that effect. Like, if you were trying to destroy, and it listed all the things that are going on, and it's like, would you do anything differently? No, they are actively doing it. You know, that's why they everything that was working, like him or hate him, Trump did have things going in a good direction. They dropped COVID on him. I'm 100% convinced they dropped that on him. They had Russia Gate on him the whole time. Like the idea that, you know, Trump is Hitler, he was well loved by rappers, by everybody. He's in Home Alone. Like he was on TV. Like nobody had a problem until he decided he was going to run for president. And all of a sudden, oh my God, I just now noticed, you know, and say what you want. The guy actually cared about this country, you know, in his own Trumpian way. And they cannot admit it. I always talk about it on the show, sunk cost fallacy. You've already committed to everyone's Nazis, everyone's racist. My team is always right. You're never, ever going to, like, people have a hard time saying I was wrong, generally speaking, if they have, like, you know, a lack of humility. And that's what I've learned over this, is that it's like, I had to admit that I was wrong. And I tell you what, I was depressed for a while in 2013 when I started to go, this whole thing's been a lie. And then I was depressed for a while and I felt like, you know, the walls were closing in. I felt like, oh my God, the whole place is going to come apart. Like they're going to blow this whole thing up because they don't give a shit. And at that time, it was as true as it is now. But with the, you know, they didn't destroy everything. And in that time, it's just made me angrier and angrier, and not, I don't think, in an unhealthy way. It's not unhealthy for me to be angry and disappointed in my friends and in my family. And you know what? It's also not unhealthy for me to resent them as much as they think I'm crazy, because you know what? Like you have such little respect for me that you're not even willing to entertain the idea that maybe I came across some information that helped me understand this thing that I'm sharing with you. You know, did I just like, this is what they say. It's like, you know, Tucker Carlson is a gateway to the alt-right or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah. So I fell on top of a Fox News ad and now all of a sudden I'm a Nazi. This is how dumb, that's how dumb the left is. That's how dumb these NPCs are. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's like the only place I can find truth are shows like yours, you know, and Tucker Carlson, say what you want. He actually does cover shit that I don't even think Fox people. That's why he has no ads. That's why he can do such long segments. Nobody's advertising on his show, but they just, it's fungible. They put it during the daytime shows. Yeah. He's talking about things that are not allowed and on most of those major networks. And he's doing it in a funny way, because I remember him when he was bow tie guy on MSNBC, and I was like, he was such a little goober. Guys with bow ties. It's, you know, he just looked like he was straight out of like university, and you just look like or he looked like he was straight out of like Cape Cod at some fucking, you know, country club there, and you just go, ugh, you know. And now I hear him talk and I go, okay, well, at least I get the feeling he probably is way more based than he's even allowed to be on television. But the fact that he knows, you know, kind of gets, first of all, he's got a sense of humor, which I think is sorely lacking in the mainstream media, and that's evidenced by the fact that he's got Alex Stein coming on all the time. Did you see Alex over at Penn State a couple days ago get spit on? The chick who got spit on. Yeah, she's already a meme, so I hope she's happy. Yeah, I saw her. Yeah, you know, this is what we're up against, man. We're up against like brain dead morons that are easily whipped up into a frenzy, and you know, just like this outrage mob that they're mad, but they don't really know. They couldn't really tell you exactly why they're mad. They're just being told to be mad. Yeah. They're just told to be mad. This is the new, this is the new normal. And I'm with you, man. I don't get, like, I've had problems with, you know, people that I've known a long, long time where it's like,
when all this stuff started in 2020, I remember telling them, like, they're going to roll out vaccines really fast. And please don't take the shots. Like, whatever you guys do, like, I'm not going to give you some like long ass lecture here, but like, just if you're thinking about it, please give me a call and let me know so I can at least explain to you the things that I know about this stuff. And it might, it's information you'd want to have. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a phone call from anybody, and they all took it. And, and I feel bad, and I don't like that. I don't want to be like, I'll show you. You guys will all end up sick or dead from, like, I don't want any of that. I want them to, they're my friends. I want them to all be healthy. But it's like, why would I go out of my way to bring this up if I didn't have something to, something of relevance to share with you guys about this? Like, I know something you don't know because I do this weird thing for a living. I write books about obscure shit and talk to talk to people that aren't on the mainstream. It's like, would you want to know that, like, we interviewed on Union of the Unwanted the guy that invented the mRNA technology, and that he said it's great, but once you turn it on, you can't turn it off? Like, don't you think that would be important to know before you injected yourself with something? They're like, nah.
Yeah. So do you think, as you're explaining your family, because my family, my dad said I was a flat earther ultimately because I don't believe in vaccines and all this stuff. I don't talk to the motherfucker anymore. He's an ass. But if it were a pill and people said, if you take this pill, like, even if it was like, say it was one time and then say it was daily, do you think people would have been so eager to take it and not a vaccine?
God, I don't know. I mean, probably would have taken it. I mean, it seems easy, but I don't know. I
think as we're talking about it, I almost feel like they had such a campaign for anti-vax. And there are a lot of legitimate questions to ask about vaccines, because from one country to the next, the vaccine schedule is very different. Like Iceland, I think, has like maybe half a dozen. And the United States is what? They're up to 1,000 or something.
78 last time I saw.
Was it 78? Okay.
78 doses of.
Yeah. So you get the booster on this and the booster on that. And it's like, I had chicken pox. I had measles. This is not actually, I don't think I had measles. They had the measles one by that time. But at the same time, it's like, these are provable. They've been there. The Lord knows, it's like being circumcised. Like, I don't know what it's like to have not been circumcised. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it's like to have not been drinking fluoride my entire, growing life. I filter it now, but even saying that to some people, you're crazy. But it's I heard it on your show where you were talking about it. It's an industrial waste product. What do we do with this? Well, we can't just, put it in the water, but why not?
Yeah, we can. Well, first, we have to confuse the people. Then we'll make them ask for it. We'll make them beg for it. Then we'll put
this
it
for your teeth.
It's for your teeth. You like teeth, right? Look at all those teethless people in the UK. Look at their. This is. You want to look like them?
It's the least. It makes the least sense out of anything. I guess it kind of, because nutrition is a thing, but like putting water into your stomach that is quickly pulled through your system and out. It's not like I don't know. I mean, I could kind of see it because you do get like trace minerals, calciums and so forth from water if you got a really good source. But at the same time, like, this is an unnatural, substance. I would prefer not to go all in without any testing. Same with the vaccine, and then just ignore it. Like, we didn't just throw a chemical into the water indefinitely.
Yeah. It's like, well, first of all, you try and explain to people that don't. It's like, well, you could start with the real low hanging fruits. Like, well, do you know that the fluoride they put in? Like, again, like you said, open up your phone that you have in your pocket and just type it in, and then look, and you'll see that it's designated that. So they add it to your water for free because they love you. And they don't even charge you for it.
You pay for it. No, you pay for it with your taxes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you do.
So you pay them to poison you and your family.
Because they care for you, and they really care about your teeth. They want they want all those teeth attached when they turn you into a skull and make a big pyramid out of you.
That's essentially it. Yeah. No, I know. And that's one of those ones where the cognitive dissonance is so much that you could prove it to them, but there are like Harvard studies and everything that, it's not like you have to go to InfoWars to find the articles. Mainstream articles have made, observations about this and questioned it. And it has been taken out of the city regimen, whether that's happened or not. But I think a few municipalities did vote to get it out. There was that story recently of that guy who was slowly lowering it. Did you see that story?
You got to put that guy on a stamp, man.
Yeah,
it's a fucking.
We should. I mean, that's pretty base, but obviously he's an enemy of of all the smart, right-thinking people, not right-wingers, but the people who have all the best opinions.
Yeah. Well, you're near the border wall. What's going on with your border wall down there?
I'm in San Antonio,
really
and
not near a border wall, but
what's that?
I say you're really not near a border wall geographically. You're
close-ish. It's a lot easier to get. It's easy to get to Mexico. It's not as long a drive from Austin. It's an hour and a half shaved off. So I can get to the border, I think, in like 2-3 hours. And San Antonio is heavily Hispanic. Most places are, at least bilingual. And as far as the border goes, I haven't been down there for a while. I think when was Biden inaugurated? He was inaugurated a year and a half ago.
Like January of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was it right at the beginning was the last time I drove across the border, and it was bad then. I mean, you literally have people, I don't know, man, it's like a shelf full of bowling balls that if one little piece of wood breaks, it's all going to come piling in. And that's what it looked like. I mean, it was really sad, especially when you go to the Laredo side. Like, that's the worst one. Piedras Negras is too small to where it's not, you don't really see a lot. People in Piedras Negras are like, I guess we're in Piedras Negras now. And they don't really hate it for whatever reason. It's not close to any smuggling routes. I think they use the edges for the smuggling. And so that's where you're seeing a lot of it. But they do an Eagle Pass. That is actually across from the Nuevo Laredo side. They have been having an upsurge. So I tend to take the Laredo side. I'm probably going to go there for Thanksgiving. I'll be curious to see how it is, but you've seen the drone footage. And for my husband to be a Mexican national, being almost 4 years in on a legal immigration process, thousands of dollars, and I'm just supposed to pretend this is okay, and I hate Mexicans because I don't care for this. And obviously the people of Martha's Vineyard don't care for this. The people of New York don't care for this. And I love that they're showing this double standard and pissing their pants and having temper tantrums about how they're using people as political pawns. It's like, tell me about that. Yeah. Explain this to me. Because you had, like, when they were talking about the great replacement theory, and we did this, Tucker and all these people talking about the great replacement theory. Meanwhile, MSNBC and all these lefties are talking about, is it going to be so great when white people are in the minority here in the United States? It's like, I don't know. Sounds like you guys are really into this great replacement theory, just based on the evidence, because no one on the right, as far as I can tell, is really talking about it. Unless it's like these Kek Pepe, whatever that Nazi site is. Like Stormfront or whatever.
Right. Yeah, well, you're a mass shooter that leaves a manifesto, then they always put that in your manifesto that you're obsessed with the great replacement theory. I did an episode on this too. And a bunch of different shooters had that in their manifesto. The totally, we swear, wasn't written by the FBI or anything like that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but when Sandy Hook happened, they had discovered that he was a supporter of Ron Paul.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. Did they put that in there too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ron Paul agreed to write the foreword for our controlled demolition book. And we were so stoked. We were like, this is going to be great. And 2 days after he agreed to it, he had his medical incident on camera, where he had what was like kind of like a mini stroke. And we were like, oh shit, what do we do? Like, we're like, we got to let him off the hook. Cause we need it. We were like, it was the last thing that was getting done. And we were like, okay, once we have this, then we'll be ready to go. And then he had that, and we knew it was going to be a while. So we thanked him for agreeing to it, but then we moved on and went a different direction. But we love Ron, of course.
Yeah.
I had a chance.
He's godlike.
You know what's funny is that I've been to 2 in Acapulco's. He's been a speaker both times. And you would think that if you get 3,000 anarchists in one building all at the same time, and you say that we're going to bring a guy onto the stage who is in his 80s, a white male Republican senator from the United States who's been in politics for a long, long time, we're going to bring him to the stage. I mean, you would think a person with that resume would rightly get booed out of the country, not just off the stage. But he comes out, man, and he's like a rock star. They love him because he stands for the right things, and he stood up to these motherfuckers in Washington D.C. and he said things like, "I bet you there's more terrorists within a 5-mile radius of my office in DC than there is in all the Middle East," and shit like that. And you're like, yeah, you're right. So, I mean, of course they would demonize him. I didn't know that though, about the Adam Lanza thing. That's really funny.
I haven't confirmed it. I did see some report. I think I'm in some of these crazy telegrams from these way off the path Reddit subreddits. And, they didn't post the article. They posted they screenshot the article, but it was an article that the Vegas shooter was apparently like a libertarian and all this other stuff. Like he was supposedly, I mean, they're so weak and predictable in their shit, you know? Yeah. And the idea that they had this school shooting with an AR-15 with a young, non-white character, doing it this time, and there's not a peep. Like that, this is just the stuff where it's like, if you still think that you're getting any amount of valid information from the press, from the media, you're, I mean, God love you. I mean, you should definitely not be voting.
No. If you watch the media and you watch the nightly news and you believe it and it's real to you, and you're not watching it as like a parody of news, then you shouldn't be voting, because you are a low information voter at that point, because the information you're getting is contaminated. It's just not, it's not good stuff. And so your opinion, though a personal opinion, it's so influenced by the media, and the media has contaminated and poisoned all that information. So it's like, you can't believe anything they tell you. God, every day is it's a battle between me and the media in my mind. I hate them so much. They've done so much damage to this world, and they're coming out. Now I'm seeing that they're getting ready to clean house even more over at CNN. I was like, good. They should fire everybody. They should bring in and as soon as that guy gets done firing everybody, Elon Musk should hire him to come over and fire everybody at Twitter too. Exactly.
Yeah. So what do you think about all that? Because I mean, obviously you're seeing the articles already. There was one like why free speech is a threat to democracy. It was an article about Twitter and Elon buying it. Like, free speech is a threat to democracy. Everything's a threat to democracy at this point. You know what I mean? Like, my milk is one day away from spoiling in the refrigerator, and it's a threat to democracy.
Yeah. Well, I hear that Elon is borrowing the Foxconn suicide nets, which is probably.
Did you steal that? Did you steal that? It's pretty funny.
Can I just use him for a little while? Yeah. Well, let him drop, man. You guys. I mean, look, they took a platform that has. Obviously it's very influential. Twitter is influential. You can say it's filled with
the trough that it's the trough where all these hacks go. Yeah. On the daily, and then they write articles about it without ever leaving their fucking sweatpants, from bed, because everybody's working from home because COVID. These were the people who said you were selfish because you wanted hamburgers and haircuts. Meanwhile, they were still getting paid to lie to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and at Twitter, apparently it's real bad. They'll do your laundry, and you can get 3 meals a day there, and you can live in this bubble where everybody believes the same thing that you believe, which is I don't think that's a good foundation to build a platform on, because the platform itself is supposed to be like a town square where you have all kinds of people, and so you should have a company made up of lots of different types of people as well as a representative, force of what's to be expected on this platform. But you don't have that. You just have hardcore left. And anybody like, Zach Voorhees, right, from the Google whistleblower, I was talking to him and he was saying like his last year or so at Google before he blew the whistle and everything, he was just he would get to a point where he knew that lunch was served until 2:00 and he'd go down at 1:55 and go down and load up his plate, with salad and everything and go sit in a corner because he didn't want to sit next to anybody. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He didn't want to interact with them because they knew that he was more conservative and they just busted his balls all the time and just made it so unpleasant that he basically had no friends there because he thought differently. And I thought, well, that's probably what's going on at Twitter too. I would imagine no wonder they're all freaked out that Elon's going to come in there. I mean, it's like somebody coming into your house and like rearranging all the furniture or something, I mean, it's just be weird for him. But again, I have no sympathy for you go work somewhere else. Go somewhere else. If you want to like police people's speech, go to North Korea. Fuck.
These people already hate America. You say it's like, I mean, I would almost akin or make it akin to you're going to a Catholic church and then all of a sudden it becomes a Muslim church overnight because this is a religion for these people.
Yeah.
And that's the switch that's happening now is because they love power. This is what we talked about on the show yesterday. It's like, what is it about for you? You're running this John Fetterman guy. Is this because you care about the country or is this because obviously we know you care about the seats? Chuck Schumer can get all the lefties to vote however they want. Nancy can get AOC to vote for war. We saw the protests in there and she says, you're saying Putin propaganda, which they're not. They're just being honest. And it harkens back to when they moved the goalposts on weapons of mass destruction with George Bush, where it's like first he had them, then when they didn't have them, well, would you rather have Saddam Hussein in power? Like they always have some kind of, squeaky clean, get out of jail free thing where they can always be right and they're never right. And here with Twitter, you've got these articles where it's like, oh, it's a threat to democracy. Well, you don't care about democracy.
Great point. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, it's a threat to democracy. You mean that thing that you guys are continually bashing all the time? And I got my problems with democracy too. I mean, it's not a perfect system.
There's one meme that's like, well, gang rape is a democracy.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, but the concept of democracy is that we could have theoretically a bunch of people standing around and saying, well, we're going to do what the group thinks is best. Obviously there's big problems, and you and I are both like libertarian anarchist difficult motherfuckers. I mean, we're
open-minded, at least
open-minded. Yeah, we're open-minded. Yeah. But they don't like the idea of not being in control. So it's not only is it it's annoyingly hypocritical too, because they pretend that they're the group that is compassionate and accepting, and we want equality and everything. You don't want equality, because if you wanted equality, Donald Trump would still be on Twitter, because that would be more equal, right? He wouldn't be your favorite. He's not my favorite either, but but that would be more equal. You don't want equality. You want payback. You want revenge. You want it to go your way. You want retribution, but the idea that they're going to make things we're going to make things equitable. I'm sorry, man, that's just not realistic here in this world. Like, you want equity? You want equal outcomes? Why would any of us agree to equal outcomes? You think I want equal outcomes with some and some group college group project if I've got two of the people in my group that are sleeping or don't even show up, to the meeting? Why would I want equality? This stuff breaks down pretty quickly once you get more than like, I don't know, 3 people together trying to figure something out.
It's really dangerous the way they feel like this is liberating when all it is based on control. Like, I don't understand this. And then the idea that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, although he was elected president democratically, and then we have to kick him off Twitter. Like, this is, I mean, at that point, that's a Rubicon moment, I think, where democracy it's supposed to be like, I was reading a book, about ancient Greece and the philosophers, Plato and all those. And it was interesting because we're on the foundations of getting language and being able to use it with real utility and make these strong points and have these arguments and build civilization up. And this is what they hate. They hate this and the sophistication that they had back then. And now it's just, everybody talks about the threat to democracy and they banned Trump off Twitter. Biden is saying like only the right wing is violent. We already mentioned the riots in the summer 2020, but then nobody's mentioned this enough. Maybe I'm just not seeing it, but when Trump won, people were tearing shit up, flipping cars, setting shit on fire. Now, it was, I don't know how many times more violent, more destructive it was when Trump was inaugurated compared to January 6th with a bunch of people meandering around in a building that we supposedly own. So like, I don't know what you do. Like, you kind of have to give up. There are some people who are maybe reachable, but when I'm seeing Jimmy Dore and Dave Smith, libertarian anarchist Dave Smith and Jimmy Dore doing an interview and a conversation on the same podcast, they're having conversations about insurance and economics and everything. And nobody's getting mad. Nobody's, they're actually having genuinely good arguments where it's like, oh, okay, Jimmy, I see where you're coming from. Now, I don't agree with how he got there. But at the same time, it's like, that could be us, Could be like our old systems that got us to where we are. But apparently they're all racist. So flip the table so we can go back to, eating fucking bugs in the ground, which is where they want us to go.
Isn't it funny that the people that seem to have the best grip on what's actually happening in this country are comedians? Jimmy Dore, Dave Smith, Joe Rogan. We obviously Sam, we do a show with Sam. Sam is based. He'll mispronounce everybody's name, of course, but he knows what's going on.
It's endearing. I love how he does that.
Eddie Bravo. These guys that are like, there's a segment of Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon knows all sorts of shit about you. He doesn't really do it. It's not really part of his act so much, but like,
I saw him live. He doesn't talk much about it at all.
Get him deep down on a Building 7 conversation about World Trade Centers. I mean, he knows what's going on. He knows, so it's funny though, that the court jester always was allowed to say the things to the king that nobody else could say because it was under the skies of comedy.
Pressure valve. Yeah.
Yeah. To be this pressure valve. Yeah. And yet here we are. And it's like, I don't like the idea of the system of government that we have. Everything is kind of crazy, but do we want a pant-shitting pedophile as the person in charge? Like a comedian. I'd rather take not a Zelensky, of course,
no, right.
but like somebody that is at least, has the ability for self-reflection. I don't think any of these people that we've seen in the last couple of years, they have a hard time, like, they take themselves very seriously and everything. From time to time, you'd see like a human side of Obama and people would go, oh, he's just like us. He's not. But you never really saw that with W. Bush, and you never really saw that. I mean, with Bill Clinton, they tried to humanize him and say, oh, he's just like us. He jogs and goes and stops. He goes to McDonald's. He plays the saxophone on Arsenio Hall and bangs interns. Yeah. Oh, wait, we can't talk about the interns. But he is just like everybody else, So the comedians have a much better grasp on what's really happening than the people that are tasked with the responsibility of telling us what's really happening, which is the media, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I really love about it is that they are always insane and angry about whatever they're being told to be insane and angry about. And then you've got like Gutfeld crushing it in late night. And I actually, I'm not a Fox News watcher, but I subscribe to Fox on YouTube. I subscribe to a bunch of shit, Democracy Now! Included. Yep. But I watch Gutfeld. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And they've got Kat Timpf, and she is a libertarian. They have Dave Smith on there often. They have a lot of libertarians on. And these people are funny, and we're having all the fun. Whether or not we agree, like there are a lot of right-wingers, Republicans who want to bomb the shit out of Ukraine and do all this shit. They're still hawkish. But there are a lot of people like Tucker particularly, he's really good on like saying, hey, our borders are completely open, but apparently the sacred borders of Ukraine, you know, we need to go defend them. But I love that we're the ones having fun. And that shows you that, you know, the resistance, whose opinions are all agreed upon by every major institution, they're resisting nothing. They're resisting having fun and seeing the truth. And that's all they're resisting. And whatever, you look and you should be ashamed of yourselves. And when your kids get vaporized in a nuclear cloud, you know, I hope you still have that smug fucking smile on your face. Not you, Charlie, but these people who are just marching us towards it. And they think they're, you know, oh, I'm so smart. You're so dumb. You're crazy. You know, I actually had some guy when I was posting some of this Fauci stuff on my Instagram, and I've known him for years. And he kept messaging me, should I call an ambulance or a hospital? Do you need help? And I blocked him, you know, I blocked him. I'm like, you know what? I know you're fucking batshit insane, you know, NPC, but and I get this a lot. When you tell me I'm crazy, like, I don't know, like if I could do like a matrix tube of information, I mean, probably into your head because you're more read up. You look at the numbers and stuff. I have a general sense, and I did a lot of research on the beginning, but they're never going to do that work. And it's way past time.
No, they're not going to do that work. And, it's weird to me that they can't even see the conflict, the contradictions in their own belief system, where
they don't have a belief system.
On the one hand, well, what they're told to believe, the belief system that is thrust upon them.
That they
on
think
the one
they
hand,
have.
Yeah, that 90 a virus with everybody and kill them if they don't wear 8 masks and a butt plug. But annihilation is somehow, tactical nuclear strikes are somehow okay. You guys are looking at this wrong. You know, actually, a tactical nuclear strike wouldn't be the end of humanity. You could do it this way. And it's like, are you so I want to make sure I'm getting this straight. Marvel movie watching retard. 99.98% survivability is not good enough for you, but nuclear war is just fine. Is that right? Because that's what I'm hearing from that side. And if that's what they really think, then I don't care what they think about anything from this point on forever.
Mm-hmm. No, they're refused. I mean, I don't know how much there is to really say about it. It's like they don't give a fuck. It's whatever the next thing is, and it's not like, yeah, I want to survive. I gotta do all the COVID regimens because I like to live. I want my kids to live. I don't care that they have to wear masks, and I don't care that they're functionally retarded, you know, for 2 years. Like, I don't care about that because we survived. We did it together, and it's like, okay, but then the Ukraine thing starts, and you change your flags. COVID goes away almost entirely, and your survivability rate is drastically lower. You know, the people who study this stuff are saying 25 to 50% chance this could go hot.
Yeah. Not
That's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you get for that? You get, you know who Jeffrey Sachs is? One of the few, like,
that's the guy who keeps getting pulled off and shut down.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
When you read his resume, you should rightly not.
Yeah, he was in Russia. He was like he was an advisor in Ukraine.
Yeah. He's got like, when you read his resume, it's got like a lot of like deep state red flags there. And I keep going, oh, probably a closet bad guy. But every time I see him on video talking about something, he's saying the things that we're saying. He's saying it almost, and he's saying it better. And he's also coming from a place, like you mentioned, of experience. He's saying, well, I know these people and I know how this stuff works, and this is where we're headed, and this is crazy. And we can't, you don't get a do-over once you have a nuclear strike on when you're not even involved. We're going to start using Ukraine. Amy, out of all the reasons why you could use nuclear weapons, none of them good, but that's the one that would be at the bottom of my list of things that, you know, would be worthy of launching a nuclear strike. There wouldn't be many on my list, but on behalf of a corrupt government that is being run by an actor who's high on cocaine and has a Cayman Islands bank account with God knows how much money in it, that's the guy we're going to allow to get us into World War III. This is not Archduke Franz Ferdinand. This is a fucking cocaine addict in Ukraine. We're going to let him kick off World War III? That's embarrassing.
I want to know how we even got there, because whatever Obama and the neocons were doing, and Newland and all these, what the fuck were they doing? Why is this Ukraine shit so? What do they have over there that is going? I know they have the NATO expansion agenda, and don't worry about where we are, because Biden's got control of this. He's got to crack. They were doing coke together. Let's face it. I have no qualms saying right now, I have no evidence, but I bet you Hunter and Zelensky were doing coke. Also, shouldn't forget Zelensky was a great dancer, played a piano with his penis as a bit. You've seen these dancing acts, right? Where he's dancing about as gay as in a mouth.
Yeah.
And people don't know this shit, but they don't have to, because, they've got the right opinions. They get to go to the dinner parties. They get shut down on Facebook because everyone else with the right opinions, they're the only voice. They literally, that's how they do it. It's like they shut you down. They censor you on Facebook. They ultimately leave because it's like, you just want to see their pets and their kids and their sandwiches and shit. And they can't stop telling you how fucking crazy and fascist the whole world is. And you're like, well, actually, it's not that crazy. And then it's like, yeah, berserk. And after a while, it's like, okay, well, I'm not wanted here. And it was interesting because they start Parler and into places, and then they're far right, like Russell Brand went over to Rumble because he got censored for saying something that was already said, but was not supposed to be said because it hadn't gotten into the guidelines and the rules yet. And so on Reddit, sure enough, you've got all these people, he's right wing now, he's all right. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. But I don't know, bombs away, guys.
Yeah, well, fine. Why not? Yeah, well, it's not that we're on the right. It's that the left has moved so far to the left that by comparison, we appear to be on the right. But
yeah,
I didn't move. I haven't changed my position. I'm still not in favor of tranny story time for 4-year-olds.
No.
I'm just that my position never changed. Theirs did. Because they used to not be in favor of that, and now they are. Now it's stunning and brave, and now everybody has to have a rainbow dildo, and that's the requirement. And it's like, oh, but I'm right wing? I'm not right wing. You've moved the scale, this imaginary scale of left and right. You've extended that side on the left so far out, I can't even see where it ends, but I assume it ends with purple hair. That's my guess.
Yeah. Do you think, so I get the sense that the COVID stuff is first of all, I think a lot of people were kind of red pilled a little bit, or at least purple pilled, to the point where it's like, they lied about a lot of stuff. Yeah. So now that there is a door open, so I don't want to completely shut it for those people who are curious. We won't be getting apologies for people who attacked us or anything if they ever change their mind and come to some understanding that, oh, I guess that so-and-so was right. There's a guy I chat with on Instagram, a little sidetrack, but he and I used to work together, and years later, it's probably about 5-6 years later, he was huge lefty and everything. And years later, he came back and he had completely blown through it. And he's like, this guy is more based than I could ever dream to be. And he's on social media. He's like, unfriend me. Like, I don't know. But so if people start dropping dead, and it starts to look, because I saw another trailer today. There's a lot of that Anthony Fauci documentary. It's fabulous. I don't know if you've watched both parts, but the second part became free. Good God, it is really well produced. So well done. But I you're not supposed to say you want it to happen, but Jesus, if people start dropping dead and it does start to be like, okay, well, we can't hide this anymore. Does this do anything, or is the Great Reset, the supply chain, all this other stuff, is this here to sort of preempt anybody finding that out? Or are the nukes there to get us nuked? So it's like, we never find out, because God forbid we find out Joe Biden's a pedophile because China does, he doesn't do what China and Ukraine want him to do. Because I know it's a heavy speculation. Come on. They could come out any minute and Joe Biden gets exposed and the whole thing comes apart. This is why we don't have any Epstein client list, Ghislaine client list. I mean, we're all so curious about it. We talk about the Franklin scandal back in the 80s. Like, these things should be taught in schools. What do we get taught in schools? Lies. You're all racist. You chop your dick off. priorities are not in truth whatsoever. And we should be asking ourselves that. And it shouldn't be this hidden. It shouldn't be that hard to find. I don't know. It's fucking crazy. Do you think they have shit on Biden to the point where they'll do anything?
Yeah, I think multiple countries have it. I actually kind of joked that, like, I hope that the United States pisses off Russia to the point where Russia just goes, oh, okay, well, we're just going to release all the moon landing in the late 60s and early world and just make you guys look like cartoon characters that lied to your people about going to the moon back. The information they have, that'd be great. I mean, that would be hysterical.
Yeah. You know what would be good about that? That's a really strong chess move because it's not violence, it's not war, but it takes people back far enough to, like, the generations that are still alive, that, like, okay, so if they've lied about that, what else have they been lying about? Because that's how I came out of it, where it was like, once I started to look into the JFK and the 9/11 stuff, and I started to go, holy fuck, that's that point where you get sad, you get, all hope is lost, but then you come out of it and it would be like a worldwide thing. Dude, go work for Russia. I want to see this happen. That's a smart move.
Yeah. I mean, just to destroy the credibility of America.
For those people who still think it has any.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That they say, oh, these leaders they're telling you that we're so, your leaders are telling you that we're so bad here in Russia. Well, your leaders are pathological liars and have been for at least the last 60 years. Here's this, boom. And then just start, obviously they've got the goods on Biden. I'm sure it's like a nuclear arms race of information where everybody's got the goods on each other. In fact, I was reading Whitney Webb's book, and it was talking about this scene where a known cross-dressing pedophile who had files on everybody. He was so deeply involved in control structures where he had the goods on everybody. But what also wound up happening was that they had the goods on him too. So they'd have Roy Cohn would throw these parties at the Plaza Hotel, and they had this room, the Blue Room. Which I don't know what the fuck was going on there. I'm sure somebody got blown in the Blue Room. And there's like a scene in there she's talking about where, like, somebody is at this party and this guy hasn't really been to a lot of these parties, and there's like J. Edgar Hoover, like, dressed like a woman at this party. Like, holy shit. And then he's with like a young boy, and then he and the young boy like disappear to like the bedroom and everything. And it's like he got to a point where he knew that they all had the goods on him, and he didn't care because he had the goods on all of those people, and it was like mutually assured destruction. So he could actually be himself in these certain scenarios. And apparently this went on for like decades, where he was out in the open, but within these enclosed little circles. So, like if you saw him at this party and you're like, oh, J. Edgar Hoover's a cross-dresser, I'm going to get him. And it's like, we all know. We already know that. And you're only at this party because he knows who you are, and he knows that you're a criminal too. And so and it was like everyone at the party was like the mafia and like Roy Cohn and his group of people. And he was running a sexual blackmail entrapment ring. And it's like, wait a second. It's always been like this. This is like, this was like in the 50s, this was going on. So it's like,
yeah,
we haven't really evolved. Blackmail still works, right? It's still great. You got it on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, like, for as long as it's been going on, like, that is such an ugly thing to consider. I can see why nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to try to come down and go and look at that stuff, because for us, obviously, it's like, it's the only logical answer. But for people who think that they're voting for their democracy, which we aren't, or the republic, it annoys me to no end that people say this. But that would be a really hard pill to swallow, that a bunch of people are in control of everything. But I think, thankfully, I do feel like, I mean, obviously, I'm clearly confident enough to speak this way. You're clearly confident enough to speak this way. We're all having fun. Like, that must be a good sign, because you probably have the numbers on this because you're more well-read. But I think it was hovering around 10% of the colonies were willing to fight the British. The rest were good just to go along and get along. Wasn't it some really low number that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that we're at the numbers at this point where it's like, we're all kind of pissed off enough and we're like, yeah, but explain this to me now, because there was a video that came out of Philadelphia, I think it was again, where it's just people all over the streets and sidewalks, tents. We see them all the time coming up now. And it's like, I haven't put the video together. There probably is one out there, but it's like, just put them like Joe Biden at the podium announcing more and more. Like every time he announces more money for Ukraine, they should just be running those clips alongside it, like a side by side. Because if you still think that this is a good idea and these people care about you, I mean, God for fucking bid. I live in Texas. There's a measure to put Texas as its own country. I hope that happens. I swear to God. But then they're going to lose their shit because you come up with Parler, you come up with BitChute, and then they come over there and tell you you're all right wing. So if Texas secedes, it's going to be racism and we hate black people and everything.
Of course. Well, they're trying to do New California too. They're trying to break away using the West Virginia model and saying that you guys don't represent the majority of this state. So we're going to break away county by county. And they showed the map of it. And it was basically, it looked like two small islands. It was like Los Angeles County was part of original California, and San Francisco was part of it, and everything else was like a different color. It was red in this. I forget what the name of it. And they're working on it. I don't know if they're going to get it passed, but there's a lot of people. There's no appetite for this stuff. Once you get out of like the bubbles of Los Angeles and New York and LA and Chicago, and you get out into like other cities, you start to see, oh, this stuff doesn't play well. Nobody outside of those places are going to see Bros. You know what I mean?
I know, dude. Yeah, I heard you talking about that. I was like, I can't even. You put it exactly perfectly. It's like, one, you've already alienated men in general.
Yeah.
And two, women don't want to see men fuck.
Yeah.
Lesbian or not.
My mom was like, there was a weird like orgy scene or something. I was like, oh, I'm sure you were. She's like, it was weird.
She saw it?
She saw it. Yeah. She was with her friend. They went to lunch and then they were going to go to a movie and they didn't know. And when they got done with the lunch, they were looking for a movie that started about that time and they went and saw it. And she was like, it was weird. And she's not like easily offended by that stuff either, but she was like, it was kind of weird.
It sounds awful. And I'm just glad I don't know that any of this shit is happening until the backlash comes out online, and you hear about this guy throwing a tantrum because everybody's hates gay people and so forth. So I don't know. That's how I found out about it. I had no idea it was even a thing.
Well, we don't hate gay people. You're our favorite gay person, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy though, because it's like, there's the Gays Against Groomers. These are those optimistic things that are going on where, how can I be anti-LGBT offensive? It's totally offensive for me as a gay person to think that I'm just supposed to go along with this shit or I'm out of the group. Like you can go and fuck all the way off. No, like this is popping kid stuff off. I always say I was a dinosaur one day, a ninja the next. Like, no, we're not doing this. And the fact that they're still they're so gung ho on it, it's like, what is your obsession here? And getting these teachers, like, why do you care so much gender in the minds of these fuckers? It's crazy.
I remember if you saw your teacher out like in the wild, like at the grocery store ever, it would be like a big deal. You'd be like, oh, there's Mrs. Webster or someone and you wouldn't even know maybe you knew what their first name was, but it would be weird to say it, you'd see them out there and you go, oh, wait, they're a human being just like us. This is strange. Now it's like, I just can't wait to tell my students that I'm coming out as poly. And you're like, why are you having this conversation? This is fucking weird. And you know who I think, I've been pretty vocal about this. And I think that I know who will bring this thing to an end. It will be the gay community. The gay community will say, you guys, we've busted our ass to be taken seriously and to shed all these ridiculous stereotypes. And we've done a really good job of it. And we're now in positions of power all over the country, all over the world. We're not going to have you weirdos come in here and fuck this whole thing up. We've been working so hard. to be normalize this and to be accepted, and we've done all the right things, and now here you guys come along and you're talking about, story time for kids. Like this is the shit we'll tell you right now. This is the stuff that's going to get you hated by the straight community, and we're not signing off on this. So I hope the gay community is the one that brings this to an end. Like groomers and things like that. Yeah, we recognize the people that are smart, the people that are paying attention. We recognize this is not the gay community doing this.
Yeah, I think it's a small amount of loud people who are really pushing this stuff. And I wonder about the teachers thing. Like, I don't know, I don't want to get personal, but like, I wonder how many real teachers are out there. But my theory with those creeps is that they just like, there's nothing interesting about them. They're completely like void of any soul, interests, hobbies, skills, and they need one thing that's going to get them attention. And even then, nobody gives a shit. It's like, oh, you want to do that? Go ahead. But because nobody really does care. You're an adult. Chop your shit off. Nobody cares. Right. But then the only audience that will listen and will still be like, whoa, what's that about? Is these kids, and then they feel like then now, see, they recognize me. And it's like, yeah, you're a freak and they don't know what to do about it. But you're still like, for the people who have bad parents and family situations, like they're probably pretty susceptible to this. These are the ones who get hit at home and come and hit people at school, and now you're just putting gasoline on a fire.
Yeah. Yeah. And a kid can't go anywhere. You're their teacher. You're kind of stuck with this teacher, and you're in a forced indoctrination situation. That like you said, you may be having a bad situation at home and come to school and hope that you can talk to someone about it. And your teacher wants to talk to you about, like, don't tell your parents this, but let me talk to you about gender. Yeah. And it's like, holy shit, I'm just
anyone who's not in your family or anyone generally says, don't tell your parents about this. That's probably a bad sign.
Yeah. Tell your parents. If they tell you, don't tell your parents, tell your parents. And if they say, come in this van, I've got free puppies, don't go in the van.
You saw that Hunter Biden picture, right? With all the girls in the bathtub, and they're all like, I don't know, maybe around 12, shirtless.
That's normal.
Well, and I shared guy I mentioned on the show several times. He's like, well, I didn't vote for Hunter Biden. I'm like, okay, all right.
No, you didn't. You voted for the guy that made Hunter Biden.
Yeah. And he's the guy who said that, people dads shower with their daughters all the time. And I'm like, at 11?
So
he still stood by it.
I have an 11-year-old daughter. I can tell you, because if I have the same age range as that, never in a million years would I do that. Would I think that was okay? It would be so fucking weird. I've never done that. And even when she was a little kid, bath time and giving her bath, but I never got in the bath with her. Although, like some hippie parents do that stuff. And I don't know, I guess to each their own. But there is a line in which it starts to be, I don't know, it just, for whatever, it just starts to be weird. They're a little too old for that stuff. But the idea that you would slip in the shower and take a shower with your 11-year-old, totally inappropriate, I can say, as somebody with an 11-year-old. So,
well, the idea that the guy's just going to be like he'll bend over backwards to defend the fact that he's completely, brainwashed.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because to acknowledge that the president is a pedophile and that you voted for him is to acknowledge that being a pedophile isn't automatic disqualification in that voter's mind, right? That because like that, to me, it's automatic. You're not, I'm not voting anyway, but I wouldn't vote for a guy that was doing that, regardless of what his policy was, regardless of if I was in that political party. So, but for some people, that's not a deal killer for them, which is weird to me.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the most. I don't know. I think we're in good hands. It's a fun time to be alive. I mean, I do feel like the wheels are coming off. I just hope they come off peacefully.
Well, the best place to catch the narrative on what we're going through, I think, is twice a week Wednesdays and Saturdays on Twitch, 7 o'clock Eastern on Wednesdays on Twitch, noon Eastern on Saturdays on Twitch. Of course, you can get the audio downloads everywhere. The best podcast in the world, in my opinion, OBDM, Our Big Dumb Mouth. Thank you, Joe. I love what you do.
That means a lot, man. You too. It's so much fun to talk to you. It's such you're such a casual dude.
Well, we just are. We're just calling it like we see it. Unfortunately, what we see is a bunch of insanity everywhere. Hey, if you guys like this episode, you can take the additional step right now of sharing it with your friends and family. Make sure to subscribe to this show, and while you're doing it, subscribe to OBDM too. While you're at OBDM Pod is the website. You can sign up.
OBDMpod.com.
OBDMpod.com is the website. Go sign up for their Discord and everything. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you soon.